Hey everyone, this is Analyze Nation. I know it's been a while, as it always has been, but I thought I'd give you some new content and review the latest episodes of the new series of Doctor Who, starting of course with episode 1, The Woman Who Fell to Earth. Now this episode was written by Chris Chibnall, the new showrunner. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, I'm sure some of you will graciously yell at me. I want to say that I really enjoyed this episode. It is not my favorite new Doctor intro episode. That would probably be Matt Smith's 11th Hour, but this is definitely a close second. It has a lot of the best elements, in my opinion, of the previous new Doctor intros. Right off the bat, we are introduced to the new companions first, before the Doctor enters their life, akin to Rose, for example, the very first episode of the revival. And then there's the aspect of some of the post-regeneration amnesia or fatigue, like there was in the Christmas Invasion, I believe is what that's called, Tennant's first episode. There's not a lot of 11th Hour in it, which honestly I think is good. You know, I love 11th Hour, but I think if there was another world-ending cataclysm that this Doctor had to solve, it would just be too close to that. We don't really get anything akin to Deep Breath. That's a very different episode than this. But regardless, it has some of my favorite elements from the previous episodes. So we get introduced to Ryan, to Graham, and to Ryan's nan, Graham's wife. And there's some great character work there. I love the character work in this episode. Yaz too, you get introduced to her. All of them have a real natural dialogue between them. Their relationship felt believable. It felt lived in, like these have been people that have been existing for a while. And I wouldn't exactly call them side characters, even though they are a principal cast. But one thing I will talk about is the inclusion of the guy whose sister was killed by the alien. I know this is going way off track. Spoilers, by the way, you know. What do you want from me? I'll put it in the title. That there's a guy whose sister was taken or killed by this alien monster. We don't really know what it is yet. And he just dies. There are two other people who just die. The drunk man throwing food and the guy who had a granddaughter or grandson, or he was talking to his family, the guard. And the inclusion of that, there was a lot of weight, and I think realism given to this episode through inclusion of those side characters, that this alien is affecting the world around it, instead of just appearing as a threat to our main characters, but also appearing to the world that we don't really get to see, the people who are usually running and screaming when the world is ending, you know, but we never really get to see what's actually happening in their life. So I like that. That was a nice touch. What else do I want to talk about? The villain, I liked the villain, what is it, Stenza, I believe, Tim Shaw. That was a really unique design and a really creepy design. I personally don't have much of a teeth fear or gross out factor. I don't know what you'd call that personally, but it was still really creepy, and it was a nice added touch that this kind of Klingon-esque race, we don't really know a whole lot about them, that is something particular to their warrior ethos, their code, that they take parts of their kills. And obviously if your face is more screwed up and mutilated, the more successful you've been, so the idea goes. But I haven't really even talked about the Doctor yet. Jodie Whittaker didn't grab me in this episode. I did like her, but there was no Matt Smith moment, again, of 11th Hour, which is probably still why it would rank above this episode, that really felt like, yes, I am the Doctor. There were a lot of great moments, but nothing that really amounted that to me. I liked that she built her own Sonic, that she looked at the spoons. I liked her whole approach to this, to regeneration, to, saying, I don't know who I am, but I'm going to follow these instincts the best I can. I have to trust in them. Her whole attitude of saving people, this is what I do, and the kind of way she explains what being the Doctor is to her, while obviously not as impactful or one punch style as Matt Smith, was nonetheless very accurate to who the Doctor is and who this Doctor will be, especially when she confronts Tim Shaw. I also liked... Let me back up. I like how there's no mystery box set up. Obviously, there was the hook with the TARDIS being missing, and at the time, I thought, maybe we'll go half a season or a whole season without her getting the TARDIS, with her just tracking it down. I'm recording this in advance. Obviously, we do find that out in the next episode, but it was a nice place to leave the Doctor more to her own devices than she might have usually been with the TARDIS. But I'm glad there's no mystery box set up in this episode, at least. There's also real consequences in this episode. Spoiler warning again, if you haven't left yet. I don't know why you're still watching anyway. Ryan's Nan dies. And in fact, kind of dies due to the Doctor's withholding of information and wanting to be clever and reveal that she holds all the cards, so to speak. Maybe this was cut in a deleted scene, but I think it says something to the Doctor's character that the first time we, the audience, know that the DNA bombs are no longer a threat are when she tells Tim Shaw that she has used this sonic screwdriver to put all of the DNA bombs in him, essentially, and she's deactivated them in her friends. But she doesn't say that. Again, I might have to watch the episode over again, but she doesn't say that to any of her companions that are following her around. And Ryan's Nan specifically goes after the weird alien coil thing, which, again, introducing that was a great scene. She goes after that because she thinks the DNA bombs are still in them. At least that's my impression. If I totally missed something, please correct me. Anyway, really solid episode overall. Really good Doctor introduction. Again, it's my second favorite new Doctor intro. And the cliffhanger, though they're going to get out of it at the very next second, was at least a WTF moment, right? You didn't think, they're just all going to be, accidentally taken along to the TARDIS or to an alien planet. But in the middle of space, I do admit that got me a little bit, even though I genuinely do not like the concept of that type of cliffhanger. So, that's it for this episode, The Woman Who Fell to Earth. I'm not giving it a score, I just give my thoughts. You can give the score if you really want to. I'm going to be doing the next two in sequential order, so be on the lookout for those, and I'll see you around.